Alain Delon, one of the most iconic actors to ever grace the silver screen, is a legend of French cinema whose career spans several decades. His life, both on and off the screen, is as dramatic and captivating as the roles he portrayed. To truly appreciate his biography, we must explore not only his professional achievements but also the complexities of his personal life. Born on November 8, 1935, in Sceaux, a suburb of Paris, Delon had a troubled childhood. His parents divorced when he was very young, which affected him deeply. Sent to live with foster families and eventually boarding schools, his early life was marked by a sense of displacement and instability. By the time he was a teenager, Delon had developed a rebellious streak and was expelled from numerous schools. This troubled past would later add a certain raw authenticity to many of the brooding, complex characters he portrayed. Before he ventured into acting, Delon's life took an unexpected turn when he joined the French Navy at just 17 years old. Stationed in French Indochina, his time in the military further toughened him and gave him a worldly edge, experiences that he would later draw upon in his career. However, after a few years of military service, Delon decided to return to France, unsure of what his future held. Back in Paris, Alain Delon initially took on various odd jobs, including working as a butcher and waiter. But it was in the vibrant Parisian nightlife that his striking looks and magnetic charisma caught the attention of talent scouts. With no formal training in acting, Delon was soon offered opportunities to work in film. His big break came in 1957 when he was cast in Quand la femme s'en mêle, When the Woman Gets Involved, directed by Yves Allégret. Although his role was relatively small, it was enough to get him noticed by filmmakers and audiences alike. However, it was in 1960, with Luchino Visconti's Rocco and His Brothers, that Delon truly rose to international stardom. His portrayal of Rocco, a morally upstanding but tragic figure, was a masterclass in restrained yet powerful acting. The film's success solidified Delon's reputation as a serious actor capable of handling intense emotional roles. It also marked the beginning of his collaboration with Visconti, a relationship that would define much of his early career. A year later, in 1961, Delon starred in Purple Noon, based on Patricia Highsmith's novel The Talented Mr. Ripley. In this film, he played Tom Ripley, a charming yet sociopathic character. Delon's good looks and magnetic presence were juxtaposed with the sinister nature of his character, creating an indelible impression on audiences. This role also set the stage for the kind of morally ambiguous, complex characters that would become his hallmark. Throughout the 1960s, Delon worked with some of the most prestigious directors in European cinema. In 1963, he reunited with Visconti for The Leopard, a historical epic that cast him opposite Claudia Cardinali and Burt Lancaster. Delon's performance as the dashing and ambitious Prince Tancredi showcased his versatility and ability to stand out even among established stars. The film won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, cementing Delon's status as a major international star. While his professional life soared, Delon's personal life was often tumultuous. His relationships were frequently tabloid fodder, particularly his long-term romance with Romy Schneider, an Austrian actress who had also achieved international fame. The two met while filming Christine in 1958 and became one of Europe's most glamorous couples. Though their relationship ended in the early 1960s, they remained lifelong friends, and their connection is often remembered as one of the great love stories of European cinema. However, Delon's life was not without its controversies. In 1968, his name was linked to the unsolved murder of his bodyguard, Stephen Markovitch, a case that rocked France. Although Delon was never formally charged, the scandal cast a shadow over his reputation for years. His association with unsavory characters and rumors of involvement in the criminal underworld added a layer of mystery and intrigue to his already larger-than-life persona. Despite these challenges, Delon continued to work steadily through the 1970s and 1980s. He became synonymous with the French film noir genre, particularly through his collaborations with director Jean-Pierre Melville. In films like Le Samouraï, 1967, Delon embodied the role of the lone, morally conflicted anti-hero. His minimalist acting style, combined with his cold, enigmatic demeanor, made him a perfect fit for Melville's austere and atmospheric films. Le Samouraï remains one of Delon's most iconic performances and is widely regarded as a classic of French cinema. Delon's later career saw him take on a more diverse range of roles, although he remained closely associated with the film noir archetype. In the 1980s, he ventured into television, notably in the French miniseries Fabio Montale, where he portrayed a retired police officer drawn back into the world of crime. Though his film output slowed in the following decades, Delon never fully retired from acting. Alain Delon's legacy as an actor is undeniable, but his personal life continued to attract attention. He had several high-profile relationships and marriages, including with actress Nathalie Delon, with whom he had a son, Anthony Delon, who also became an actor. Alain Delon also had several children from other relationships. His personal relationships, like his career, were marked by intense passion and occasional scandal. In later years, Delon became more reclusive, although he occasionally spoke publicly about his dissatisfaction with modern cinema and his disillusionment with the world. In 2019, Delon was awarded the honorary Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, a recognition of his incredible contribution to cinema. However, even this honor was met with controversy, as some critics pointed to his past political views and personal conduct. Despite the ups and downs, Delon remains a towering figure in French and world cinema. His legacy is one of a consummate artist who brought a unique combination of beauty, charisma, and complexity to the screen. His performances in films like Rocco and His Brothers, Le Samouraï, and The Leopard have become cinematic touchstones, inspiring generations of actors and filmmakers. Alain Delon's life, like his career, has been marked by highs and lows, triumphs and scandals, but through it all, he has remained a compelling, enigmatic figure. He is a reminder that true artistry often comes from those who live life on their own terms, with all the messiness and contradictions that entails. Today, Delon is regarded not just as a French icon, but as one of the greatest actors of his time, whose influence on cinema will endure for generations to come. Alain Delon's story does not end with his film career or his complicated personal life. In recent years, he has increasingly confronted the realities of aging, mortality, and his place in cinematic history. As one of the last great stars from the golden era of European cinema, Delon's reflections on life and legacy provide a fascinating final chapter to an already extraordinary story. By the early 2000s, Delon had largely stepped back from acting, only occasionally taking on roles in French television and film. His withdrawal from the limelight mirrored his increasingly reclusive nature. Delon became outspoken about his disappointment with the state of modern filmmaking, expressing that the values and art of cinema that he once cherished had faded. He also grew more vocal about his political opinions, occasionally stirring controversy with remarks that some found polarizing or out of touch. Nevertheless, his status as a cinematic legend remained intact, and he continued to be revered by fans and filmmakers alike. In his personal life, Delon faced significant challenges as he aged. In 2019, he suffered a stroke, an event that led him to reflect deeply on his mortality. Though the stroke was serious, he recovered after undergoing extensive rehabilitation. However, Delon did not shy away from discussing death in public interviews, often stating that he was prepared to face the end of his life on his own terms. This honesty about aging, combined with his occasionally gruff demeanor, added to the complexity of his public persona. It showed a man who had lived through immense highs and lows, and who was now grappling with the inevitability of decline. Despite his more withdrawn lifestyle, Delon's legacy in film remains strong. Younger generations continue to discover his work, with many films from his catalog becoming cult classics. Delon's characters, brooding, enigmatic, and morally complex, resonate just as strongly today as they did during his peak. His portrayal of solitary, introspective anti-heroes continues to influence modern actors and directors, especially in the realm of film noir and crime dramas. In terms of his family life, Delon's relationship with his children has been the subject of much media speculation. His son, Anthony Delon, followed in his father's footsteps and became an actor. However, their relationship has been strained at times, with public disagreements occasionally making headlines. Nevertheless, there have been moments of reconciliation, and Alain Delon's love for his children is evident, even if his relationships have been tumultuous. Delon's political and social views, which have sometimes stirred controversy, remain a point of discussion among his critics and supporters. Over the years, he has aligned himself with various political figures and movements in France, some of which have sparked debate. His outspoken nature, particularly in his later years, has led some to accuse him of being out of step with modern values. Yet, Delon has never been one to shy away from controversy, and he has always stood firm in his beliefs, regardless of public opinion. This steadfastness, while divisive, is emblematic of Delon's personality, a man who has lived life on his own terms, whether in his professional or personal life. as Alain Delon moves further into the twilight of his life, his legacy continues to be celebrated. His performances, especially in films like Le Samouraï, The Leopard, and Purple Noon, are often cited as some of the finest examples of European cinema. His ability to convey intense emotion with subtlety and restraint set him apart from many of his contemporaries. Delon's characters were often men of few words, but his screen presence was powerful enough to communicate volumes. Looking at Delon's body of work, one can see a consistent thread of characters who exist on the fringes of society, caught between morality and survival. Whether playing a hitman, a prince, or a sociopath, Delon brought a unique complexity to his roles. As Delon himself has acknowledged, he has lived a full life, one filled with both triumphs and trials. His journey from a troubled childhood to international stardom is a story of resilience and determination. Yet, for all his success, Delon's life has also been marked by tragedy, loss, and scandal. His complex relationships, legal entanglements, and moments of personal turmoil have often been fodder for the tabloids, adding a darker dimension to his public persona. Ultimately, Alain Delon's legacy is one of contradictions. He is a man of immense talent and beauty, whose personal life has often been as dramatic as the roles he played on screen. He has been both a symbol of cinematic elegance and a figure of controversy. Through it all, he has remained unapologetically himself, a true star in every sense of the word. As he continues to live out his remaining years in relative solitude, Alain Delon remains a figure of fascination, not just for his iconic roles, but for the enigmatic man behind them. His life, full of highs and lows, is a reflection of the complexities of fame, artistry, and human nature. Whether adored or criticized, Alain Delon has left an indelible mark on the world of cinema, and his legacy will continue to be studied and celebrated for generations to come. In conclusion, Alain Delon's journey is one of contrasts, a man whose professional brilliance was often shadowed by personal challenges. Yet, it is precisely these contrasts that make his life so compelling. He is both a product of his time and a timeless figure, whose impact on cinema is undeniable. His story is a reminder that behind every great star, there is a human being, complete with flaws, complexities, and contradictions. And in Alain Delon's case, those very contradictions have only added to the allure of his enduring legacy.